I'm Megan Scully, and this is the Limerick Post Show. And there are definitely no strangers to our TV screen. Rory Stories, aka Rory O'Connor, August Fresh, and Ray Goggins. How are you getting on?
Good, Megan. Yeah,
great.
Are you happy that there's a kind of screens between you now? Because the last time I saw you on, it was of course on RT on Special Forces Ultimate Hell Week.
yeah. It's nice sometimes to be speaking to that man via Zoom rather than in front of me. No, he's not too bad when you get to know him. Yeah.
Talk to us about the show. Of course, you know, Ray, you're putting them through some paces. Like people say, oh, on the show you're put through your paces. Like that's not really put through your paces. It's a bit more than that now. And what was that? How was it like for you being that person? And you know, you're literally whipping them into shape. And it's probably one of the toughest shows I've ever watched.
Yeah, like I'll be honest, like we slot into that kind of persona very naturally, like the four of us in the DS team, because that's what we did at different times of our career. So like it doesn't matter who the audience is or who's receiving it, we just slot into it. Like, so whether it's like Rory and celebrity people or professionals, whatever you want to call them, or anybody else for that matter, like that's why the whole number thing is very important for us. So like, we stick to booting and we make things tough for them, but like, if you kind of watch it in a bit of detail, it's not just about us like, making things tough for them. What we're trying to do is get the best out of them that they don't even know they can do it. Like, so you get them to a position where they're exhausted, where they're completely worn out, and then you get them to go further, and then you get them to that stage, and then you go again and again. And what you're teaching them then there is like their ability to just dig deep, which a lot of people will possibly never experience in their life. Like people think that they're working at 100%. Oh, I'm flat on them 100%. Probably 55 to 60% at best, really, So like, there's always more in the tank, and that's kind of that's our mindset. That's what we do. Like, there's always more. When you think you're done, there's always more. There's always more to come.
It's such an incredible, and compelling show. And I think, Rory, when you were on it, I think you really struck a chord. And I remember, like, every time I put on Twitter when there was an episode on, you were pretty much always trending, and everyone was talking about you in it. Talk to us about signing up to the show and making that step and joining the forces.
So last September, I got an email off Jen, who works from uch.ie, and it was like Hell Week, professionals or something was like in. I was like, oh God, and I clicked in and I started to read, and I started to register. This was kind of like we call it a celebrity one or whatever, and they were asking me what I'd be interested in doing, and myself and my wife are big fans of the show. Like, we would have watched the first two series, and like everyone who watched the kind of the celebrity one, they were kind of watching it being like, God, I wonder, could I do this? And what would I be like at that? And my wife said out straight now, this is something you need to do, like, because I'm all about stepping outside your comfort zone and facing demons. And this is the ultimate, like, there's nothing more, this is the most uncomfortable environment that any human could be ever in. And so I signed up, and it was meant to take place last November, but COVID just kept delaying it. And it was a nuisance because you'd be training and ready to go, and then bang, level 5 lockdown. So it's kind of difficult to get it right. Like, so anyway, I went ahead in the start of May, and yeah, like it was funny because like I'd done some really tough training myself. Like up in the Hill of Tara in Meath would be a place well known for great Meath teams to train. And I ran up and down that hill at a personal trainer with me with weight on me, and like I definitely went to a place in my head where I've never went in football training or anything like that, where he was just dogging me. And at one point when I was actually getting sick during training, he was like, just remember when you're on Hell Week that like you've been to this place, so you're kind of familiar with it. So I had that, but I swear to God, Megan, I wasn't on that harbour or whatever 5 minutes, and it was already in my Hill of Tara. That's like, I thought the Hill of Tara might kick in, maybe after day 2 or day 3, but within 5 minutes, alarm bells. And from that moment till the minute I finished, it genuinely is relentless. Like, it's hard to explain, as Ray said. Like, you couldn't get that experience anywhere else other than there. And there's a lot of positives. Like, I learned a lot about myself as I came out in the show, and I know a lot of the other recruits did. So it's a very positive experience, but you have to buy into 100% or else you'll be gone, like,
And like I was mentioned there, like it's more so about your mental state as well. Like, it's your mind, as you said, Ray. You're digging deep. You're trying to find that extra percentage that maybe we don't put into our normal everyday lives. But now, of course, from that has come this show that's taking place this Saturday in the University Concert Hall, Limerick. Resilience: Conquering Your Inner Demon. So, whose idea was this, and when did you decide, right, we need to get together and get on the road with this?
I'll jump in there, Rory. Yeah, look, to be fair, myself and Rory, I didn't know Rory before Hell Week. I'll be honest, even the first day he came on the show, I still didn't know who he was. You know, we get all these lovely kind of jackets on people's backgrounds and stuff, which I never read because I'm not interested in that. I just, you know, I judge the person as they arrive.
Megan, Ray has a 32 Nokia phone. That's why he never seen any stories.
Yeah, that's it too. Yeah. So like for me, like I got to know Rory after then. We kind of, you know, we struck up a bit of a kind of a friendship. We met up a few times after the show, you know, to chat, and like it kind of developed from there. And like I saw Rory, then I realized Rory's a kindred spirit. Like we're very similar in how we you know, our mindset now, and we came to it in different ways, like which we'll explain in the show, I guess. But to answer your question, Charlie, it was basically Rory's idea with this. He was kind of saying, look, wouldn't this be a great thing to bring to people, that we can talk about this, you know, and you can give your spin on, you know, resilience, mindset, positive thinking, like overcoming those things that slow you down and stop you, from my kind of experience of life. And Rory can come at it from his, like, as well, which is like, you know, they're different in ways, but also incredibly similar in how we got to that kind of point where we like to think we understand how to deal with stuff now. Yeah.
I think as well, though, you know, Rory, come from your background, like all the comedy sketches, you know, that's how we've all got to know Rory's stories. We've seen so many of your videos going viral all across social media platforms. And I think then when you opened up about your own struggles and your mental health, I think, you know, suddenly people were like, okay, this comedic guy who's always making us laugh and smile, you know, there's more behind that laugh and smile that maybe we didn't realize. And I think, you know, we've seen a different side to you then. And then with Ultimate Force, I think everyone just was like, as I said, in awe of you, and everyone was really connected to you on the show, and very much so following your progress. So for you, what is it like now to step onto a stage and bring that side of your life to fruition? I know you have the book as well, and to show people maybe that side of you, like to a live audience.
Yeah, exactly. Like as Ray said, I would have been a fan of Ray before Hell Week, from the previous shows, and I made that clear on the show. And then afterwards, we met up, and it just came to the idea because of the feedback I get on social media and the feedback with the book. Irish people are crying out for some sort of like a show like this, like, and I just felt that, you know, me and Ray had the, you know, credentials to be up there talking about it, because we both have been through adversity. In, like, obviously Ray's like you know, through the naked eye is a lot more extreme because of special forces, and his life is at risk on missions, and I'm just, you know, throwing myself out to the internet and hoping that, you know, people enjoy what I do. But there's this, it's the same mindset for the two of us, and that's what kind of brought us to do the show. And the thing, I suppose, is that, you know, we want people to understand that, like, we feel the fear as well. Like, you know, people might look at Rory and Ray going, oh, them lads, you know, must be bulletproof. You know, Rory has this massive following and he's these books, and Ray is this, you know, superhuman, like nearly action man hero, whatever. And but we're both human, like, and we both you know, we both deal with the negative voice. And Ray has a great thing every Sunday morning. He goes for a log PT, where he basically carries a log around his local woods for a half an hour, just to kind of settle with the demons. And I relate to that as well. And I know yourself, Megan, you're into the fitness as well. And there's just a time and place where you have to go out and just you in your head and just sort out a few things, and have that conversation with the negative voice, and accept that the negative voice is there, but don't let it stop you moving forward. Like, because the negative voice, a lot of the time, beats anyone failing. Like, you know, we don't even try. We don't even line up at the start line, because the voice has told us what we're doing here, and we back off. But what we are trying to tell people is, once you take that step, or you start the ladder, you'll surprise yourself. You know, you'll be way more resilient than you think you are. So that's the kind of what we want people to take from the show. And like, we done Vicar Street last night, and I think we're still on a bit of a high from it. Like, you know, I was chatting to Ray this morning, and it was a full house, and it was the weirdest experience ever, because usually I'm up there and I'm banging out stories and jokes, and the crack is 90, but this was very intimate. So like, when Ray was speaking, you could hear a pin drop, and I was sitting there going, I can't believe, like, there's so many people here listening to my opinions on life. And the negative voice would still be there while you're in the middle of it, like, but people don't see that, because, you know, we're probably good at getting our points across. But it just proved that the want is there, and there's been amazing feedback all morning on social media about it, and messages, and people took something from it, like, you know. And that's the bottom line, is we want people to walk away and be like even just 1% stronger, and know they're stronger. And that's what the show is all about. Like,
I find I give talks now to schools and to people about different areas of mental health and grief and different experiences that I've had as well. And I do find that an awful lot of people always say to me that they're like, God, you're so resilient. And I was like, well, I guess I am, because sometimes you think about it and you're like, oh no, I actually am resilient. And then a lot of people say, how can I become resilient? And I think resiliency is something that we probably all have. We just, as you said, you don't realize. It's like when you're on the show and you're at rock bottom and you've had no sleep and it's the middle of the night and you pulled out of the bed and you have to do all these tasks, that's where you find it, I think. And a lot of people, I think, don't really realize that maybe, I feel like we all have it in us. We just maybe don't know how to tap into it.
Yeah, that's a common trait, Megan. To be fair, you're bang on there. And like my experience of life and what I've seen in people, like I've seen the best and worst of people in my life experience. And you can see people like, and it's not about your resiliency. Doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, how smart you are, how much money you have. It doesn't matter. Like your resilience is different, and it's very kind of personal to your personality. Some people are more resilient than others. Like you mentioned there about learning resilience, we learn it by experience mainly, or by education, people teaching this stuff. But there's no better way to learn resilience than the school of life. And like, it's quite simple. Like myself and Rory, we talk to people about some simple techniques to improve your kind of small steps every day that just increase your ability to deal with like the adversity of anything really. From like, whether you have a stressful job or you're coaching the under 14 camogie team and their hard work or whatever you're doing, it's the same processes, and they all kind of transfer very nicely into it. Like, so.
Sounds absolutely incredible. And actually, Rory was saying to Ray just before you jumped on was, I think this time of year is probably when this is what we need. This sort of talk where, I think for some, with the suppose in Ireland, it's getting colder, it's getting darker, it's coming into winter. There's all these murmurings of what might happen, what might not happen in regards to news and everything that's happening. So I think, something like this is what probably everyone is really crying out for.
Yeah, I think so. And listen, like I know that the COVID is the elephant in the room again, like, and we're all trying to just block it out. And I think that is important, like, and that's what we do stress in the shows is like, if the news is having a negative effect on you, like, just don't watch it, like, because at the end of the day, you can't control what goes on. Like, you just have to control the controllables and just, do whatever works for you. Like, you know what I mean? If it means just ignoring like all these numbers and all these cases and people stressing out, just don't watch it. You'll hear off other people. And what happens is if we take all this in, we're like, what's the point? Like, you know what I mean? And the negative voice has a field day. So I think you're right, because of what we've been through as a country, this pandemic, and people, Megan, like I suffer from mental health even on the good days. Like when things are going well, I still have a voice, and I understand that. But other people, and a friend of mine said to me this morning that was at the show, he said, I don't particularly struggle with my mental health, but I still took a lot from the show. And that's what we want, is like everyone, whether you're struggling to get out of bed in the morning, or you have a really good, I suppose, happy mind, will say, you'll still learn something from the show. And like you said, after that pandemic, it's just important that people understand they're not alone, and that, that we all are struggling every now and again, and just to not keep it to yourself and to talk to your friends about it. So that's the kind of main message we want from the shows.
Sounds absolutely incredible. And I think as well with these sort of shows and talks, as you said, it mightn't resonate with you on the night, but it could be a couple of weeks, a couple of months, it could be even a couple of years down the line that suddenly something will happen in your life and you'll click and you'll remember back to that time in Limerick when you're in the university concert hall and something that Ray or Rory said. That's what I always think. Your mind is so powerful. It kind of like puts some of that information hidden somewhere, but it will come back when you need it.
Yeah, absolutely, Megan. Yeah, you're right. Like, we forget nothing. We just can't get it up on screen. That's what happens. Like, your brain forgets nothing.
It is. It's such a powerful tool that we have. But I have to say, Rory and Ray, Garmila Moggett for chatting to us at Limerick Post Show. I just want to remind everyone, Resiliency, Conquering Your Inner Demons, this Saturday, University Concert Hall, uch.ie for tickets. Also want to mention both your books. I know Ray, Ranger 22, and My Unexpected Journey to Self-Belief from Rory, two incredible books as well. And I know that so many people loved watching on our TV screens. I know so many people are going to take so much from your shows and just following everything that you're both getting up to. So thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Megan.
Thanks, Megan. Lovely to meet you.